The chair of the policing board, Sir Desmond Ray, has told MLAs that if the current level of threat from dissident Republicans continues, it will have a significant impact on the PSNI's finances and the police's ability to deliver the style of policing that they want. Sir Desmond appeared before the Assembly and Executive Review Committee and appealed to all public representatives to use their influence to ensure a peaceful summer in order to reduce the pressure on the police.
The current security threat is placing further operational and financial pressures on the PSNI. The murders of the two soldiers in Antrim and of Constable Carroll and Craigavon are stark reminders of our dark and difficult past. The Chief Constable and his officers are pursuing the investigations into these murders and have had to make a separate bid for additional money to pay for this. And of course the board fully supported this bid. On the back of the three murders, I spoke to the Northern Ireland office and I drew to their attention the pressures that the police were under. Should the current threat level remain, it will have a significant impact on the PSNI finances as well as the service's ability to provide a style of community policing that the service and the board would wish.
Also giving evidence before the committee was the Chief Constable, Sir Hugh Ord, who said that the cost of the PSNI's additional anti-terrorist operations over the next 2 years could amount to £76 million. Sir Hugh also revealed that he was in discussion with central government about significant increases in funding needed to meet the upsurge in dissident Republican activity.
We have been to government and we're looking at a number of areas, and we've asked for additional help in relation to helicopter top cover. Of course, we have no military helicopters at all. We have a plan to purchase a new helicopter already in the system, about 18 months down the line. That's simply the lead time to purchase it. We have an airframe. We're looking at additional money for armoured vehicles. We have, of course, downsized our armoured fleet quite appropriately. We now need to review that to give our guys the confidence to go out and deliver community policing in vehicles that look like police vehicles and are not Land Rovers, so it's a consistent and appropriate style. And we're looking at overtime in order to bridge that funding gap so we can provide the right level of cover to our guys so they can deliver an effective service and an effective investigation in terms of these particularly horrific and complicated crimes. You will know that one person has been charged last night, and I'm confident I think we will make further progress, but they are expensive and they have to be, prisoners have to be looked after quite properly in accordance with all the relevant legislation and human rights principles, which is also hugely expensive. So, in terms of the terrorist issues, for the next 2 years, a Conservative effort will be in the region of 50 million.
Yeah, if we include the FTR, that comes to about 76 million.
So there you are, that's the figure. Mark was listening to the evidence earlier. There's an interesting political context to all of this as well, Mark, isn't there?
Well, obviously we have at the moment the pursuit of the suspects in the investigations into the three murders. That's contributing to the cost. The Chief Constable told MLAs that officers working on those investigations were working 16-hour days. They were trying in previous years to bring down the overtime. They'd succeeded in bringing that down by 50%, but that's going to add to the general costs. Now, both the Policing Board and the Chief Constable told MLAs about elements that they'd had to drop. They were intending, for instance, to improve the way in which the public's calls were answered, to improve police buildings. They've had to drop that because of looking for savings elsewhere. Interestingly, in relation to that point about improving police buildings, the Chief Constable was asked about Antrim Holding Centre. Now, this is the place where the suspects in the most recent murders have been held. And we heard from the Human Rights Commissioner, Monica McWilliams, on the radio this morning her concerns, and she said that these cells were really only suitable for short-term detention of people, that it was a police station designed for people to be held overnight, more or less, and that instead they're being held for long periods. Obviously, under the latest law, they could be held up to 28 days. Now, the Chief Constable said that he'd heard those comments this morning. He said that he continued to regard Antrim Holding Centre as fit for purpose, one of the most modern facilities they had, and he said that he had no plans particularly to update it, and he actually put a figure of updating Antrim Holding Centre of about £10 to £15 million.
And also, when we think about within this recent unity that we've seen across the political divide, we've seen a unity on the security message too, with the Chief Constable saying that he had no plans to bring the army back onto the streets. He didn't see the need for it and he thought it would be counterproductive. So when he says there that we need special types of armoured cars that don't look like the ones of the past, that the police still need to be in charge, it certainly strengthens his hand when arguing for more money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what we're seeing is a sort of a return to some of the systems of the past, but with a different image now. So he's talking about, well, we don't have routine army top cover. That's what he means, the old helicopter that used to be above Belfast on more or less a permanent basis. Police are now looking to get their own, so they'll say, no, this is not a return to the past, this is our own police helicopter, and we're going to have armoured vehicles that don't look like armoured vehicles. So this is the peace process balance. You know, there's plenty of grey Land Rovers that they used to have there, but they don't want to pull them out again.
OK, thanks, Mark.